Congratulations, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause, a pat on the back. It's been a long time coming, but Biden has finally been impeached. Or has he? I'm not sure.
Freedom over fame. Freedom over.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the BlackRant Podcast. Here we talk about all things politics, social, what's going on in the world, entertainment, life, living, man shit, and a whole lot more. So let's just get right into it. I'll start off with the biggest piece of news of the day. And no, it's not Biden having been impeached or, whatever that was today. No. It's actually that underwater, deep sea diving submarine that was looking for the Titanic. Everybody was going crazy over that on social media. All the memes, everything that came out from it, absolutely. What would you expect, right? My first inkling and thought about it was they are hyping this up so much. There obviously has to be something after this that's going to come about. But it actually turns out that the Biden administration had the Navy had heard an implosion in the ocean on Sunday. So they already knew what happened to the submarine 4 fucking days ago. They let all of us sit around, wonder what's going on, the rescue crews, the drama, the news, the media, the social media posts, all that, only to release it today. Why? Well, Biden was impeached today. And just yesterday, his son, Hunter Biden, got a plea deal with the feds for a gun charge. I thought we didn't like guns. I thought we were against guns. I thought we were for banning all the guns, right? But, okay, his son gets caught with an illegal firearm. Forget about the legal gun owners, the people who go through the process and go through the steps and the training to actually get concealed carry licenses and learn how to carry and do it legally. No. The motherfucker who is constantly talking about banning guns, AR-15s, and you buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. Remember when Biden said, buy a shotgun? Okay, that guy, his fucking son, and I'm sorry I'm cursing too much, but it's just, good gracious, his son, for crying out loud. I can't even, the story is so crazy, but what do you expect from a crackhead? His son had an illegal firearm, ditched it, gave it to his sister, who, if you read her diary, she tried to avoid taking showers with her father, the president or whatever, gave it to her to get rid of. This dude caught a gun charge for having an illegal firearm. This is the number one guy in the Democrat Party, the party that hates guns, wants to get rid of guns, tamp down gun violence. His son. And this is the thing that always cracks me up about Hunter Biden, right? We always talk about him, and the news media always talks about him as though he's like 18. The man is 53 years old. He's 53 years old. How can you be a fuck up for 53 years of your life and your daddy is the president of the United States? How can you be so much of a fuck up where your daddy got you a job making $80,000 a month working at an energy gas company in the most shadiest part of the world? You're 53 years old and you're throwing guns and trash cans and doing crack cocaine. What kind of effed up individual is this? But no, forget about that. Trump is the worst guy ever. And his sons, oh my God, they do cocaine. Woo. It's not like they got a laptop out there somewhere with all types of crazy pictures of them with, Malaysian underage girls. But that's the Trumps are terrible. We know the Trump family is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. We know that they're the lowest scum on earth. We know this. We know that they are the most evil people to ever. Just look at their faces. Just look at their eyes. They're the worst things ever. No. Hunter Biden is a good guy. Just made a couple of mistakes, and that's what Joe Biden said. He said, I'm proud of my son for taking that plea deal. I'm proud. Can you believe the spin in the world that we live today? Where the only way to get out of this situation, and the media, because they're, bought and paid for, won't ask a follow-up question. He goes, I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm the president of the United States. I want to start putting in legislation to restrict gun ownership and get rid of guns. My son's got a gun charge, a federal gun charge. I put in 87,000 new IRS agents. My son has tax evasion charges, federal tax evasion charges. But I'm proud. How are you even supposed to have a real conversation with anyone on the other side of the aisle that still supports this man? You go and talk about Trump. Now, people don't understand this, but the Presidential Records Act, every president has the ability to declassify and take documents that are within their purview when they leave office, so that they can have their presidential library, and so that they can have photos and have, special memorabilia, books and photos of them and doing things overseas, and so they could tell stories, years later and all that other stuff. That is what Trump is facing. And guess what he's facing? Like 100 years in jail for taking his own documents that he, as the president, has the right to declassify. And the feds are coming after him for that. The man will not even spend 1/10 of that amount of time in jail. He'll be dead before then. But yeah, that's what they're throwing at him. 30 something counts of this and 37 counts of that. It doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has documents when he was a senator. You are not allowed. It is illegal to take classified documents when you're a senator. It's hard to do that when you're vice president. You do not have the authority, yet he has boxes and boxes and boxes of it. But President Trump is because he's bad, because Trump is bad. So let's just be clear. Trump is bad, and everybody else that says Trump is bad is 100% good, even though the fruits from those trees are rotten. Like the economy hasn't gotten any better. Crime hasn't gone down. Our relationship with countries around the world haven't gotten any better. We've actually gotten caught blowing up pipelines in Russia and blaming it on the Russians to destabilize Europe's energy resources. But they're the good guys. They're finally got a mature person back in the White House. Right? Isn't that what they said when Joe Biden first got in? Adults are back in the room. Yeah, the adults that steal, lie, swindle, cheat, the ones that, we know are the corrupt politicians, the ones that have been in politics for 5+ decades, the ones that know whose hands to grease and who to go to get their hands greased. By the way, James O'Keefe with the O'Keefe Media Group just came out with another expose talking to a BlackRock recruiter, with a recruiter. I don't know how they get these people to just start bragging about themselves. I guess I don't have as much ego as those people do, but the ego on these people, where they start bragging about, I just give, a politician $10,000 in their mind. They're in my back pocket. It doesn't matter who the president is. It just matters who controls the purse strings of the president. Then you can get whatever you want. He's literally verbatim talking about Joe Biden. We have evidence. We have documentation. We have knowledge that most people are aware. Most people understand that to become president of the United States, you got to be a little dirty. You got to have a little corruption on you. You did a little dirt, right? Everybody already understands that. So to sit there and for the media to pretend like he's this honorable person, to have all these people come out and give interviews and say he's the best man I know, he's the best. Those people are just telling on themselves. You cannot be in politics for 50+ years and be this clean cut, never did any drugs, never did any corrupt things, never took money, especially in Delaware, a state where people can have shell companies out the wazoo, where the credit card companies are from, when everybody's in credit card debt, massive amounts of credit card debt. And this is the state this guy comes from. Okay, whatever. The schemes, the money, the corruption just has no bounds. And it's at a certain point, I get why people, don't even want to talk about this stuff. They don't care about this stuff because it's like, what are you supposed to do about it? What are you supposed to do about it? I have come up with a solution, right? There is no political solution per se. There is no, oh, I'm gonna, let's just be honest. You can run for office. You can get into office, but you got to have a lot of backup. You got to have a lot of backing. You got to either be well funded or know that your constituency's got your back. You got to have, friends that are on the same page and that are willing to fight alongside you. Real people, real brave men and women, like that we are starting to see on the national level as well. But if you don't have that, there's not a whole lot that you can get done. But what you can do, the solution to all of these problems that we're seeing on a national level, is to get more involved in your community, more supportive of your friends and family, more supportive of people that you're meeting every day on the street. If you see somebody that, I'm going to start doing this as a man. If I see a man and I see that he might be struggling with mental health issues, June is Men's Mental Health Month. I am going to go and try to talk to that man and try to, give him the support that he needs. Why? Because we all need that. It's called giving. It's called empathy. I see so many young men who lack a certain amount of guidance, right? I remember what it was like to be a young teenage boy, a young man. You are constantly looking for someone to give you some validation that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing. And so much nowadays, especially specifically from the media, from the mainstream media, from our culture, from our media culture, men are not being supported. They're not being shown that they're being validated unless they put on a damn dress and a wig and say that they're, gender fluid and kiss another man. Not everybody wants to do that, man. Listen, if you want to do that and you're of age, you're 17, 18, whatever, 19, whatever you want to do that, peace be with you, sir. But not everybody wants to do that. But that is the message that they're sending. That is the protocol that they're putting out there. That's the influence that they're having on our young people. And so when I see a young man, no matter how immature or obnoxious they may be, going and doing something positive with themselves, going to a jiu-jitsu class, getting involved, getting in shape, trying to go to the gym, trying to get in shape, trying to do something to stimulate themselves and become a stronger man, I am in full support of that. I have no ego about that. I'm past the age where I'm in competition with those guys. I'm not in competition with an 18-year-old, 25-year-old, 27-year-old. I'm past that. So I'm just going to support those motherfuckers. I'm going to support you. And so this is where we are right now. And this is why our society is falling apart, because for so long there was no support. There was a constant competition. Now, I'm going off on a tangent, but I'll just say this and be done. When it must have been around the year 2002, 2003, and my parents had split. And what I had noticed was older women in their 40s were dressing like teenage girls. Now, I had never seen that in the 90s. You never saw that in the 90s. Now it's commonplace nowadays. It's totally commonplace for women that are 50 to dress very similarly to a girl who might be in their 20s, right? Now, the fashion industry has evolved, so there's so many more different styles and looks and da-da-da-da. But at that time, in the early 2000s, the fashion industry was trying to do something, because only in the 90s, all moms had was mom jeans. That's all moms had. They just had mom jeans. They didn't have anything fashionable. But what I saw in the early 2000s was there was a blending of the generations, where the interests of 17-year-old girls were also the interests in the fashion and the style of 37-year-old women, 47-year-old women. And I started seeing this. Now, obviously, this is not every woman, but I started noticing these older women dressing like young girls. And then I saw my mom doing it because she was newly single and all that other stuff. But I saw this and I was like, what the bloody hell is this? It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, these women are old enough to be somebody's mama. They were people's mamas, but they're in direct competition. And so for a while when I was growing up, men that were older than me, and this is my experience, I'm sure this is not in everybody's experience, but just mine, men were in competition with younger men, because there was a kind of like a change where it was like, don't be don't be corny, get with the times, loosen up, be youthful, be young. And that's where like it's evolved into this point where now, 50 is the new 20, all this other stuff. But back then, that was the beginnings of it. That was the budding of it. And because it was in such an infantile state and such a budding stage, you could literally squint sometimes and see a 17-year-old girl standing next to a 45-year-old woman, and they'd be wearing the exact same clothes. The baby fat jeans, the stretchy jeans, the shirt, like exact same clothes, exact same hairstyle. Now it's different. There's a lot more variety, but I think that was the beginnings of older people being pushed into direct competition with younger people because of this thing that is called arrested development. Now, this is rampant in our society, this arrested development state. You see it all the time. Anybody who knows too much about Marvel movies, way too friggin' much about comic book movies and comic books, and that's their whole life, and they collect the little collectibles and all this other stuff. Like listen, it's cool to collect collectibles and be a fan, and it's cool. But as long as that's like, that has a place in your life, and that's not like an obsession, and it's not like, I gotta see the latest movie. The arrested development state makes people fixate on something that has nothing to do with building relationships, actually bonding with people, actually becoming more mature, learning skills, and evolving as a human being. Arrested development is a state where people want to stay immature, infantile, and they find something that keeps them that way. They find something that allows them to, or gives them an excuse to stay in that state. And so that's what's happened to our world. That's what's happened to our society, because there's no real rites of passage for men. Women have a natural rite of passage, but that's been corrupted by our secular media telling women that, oh, you've had your rite of passage, now go be a whore, type of thing. Go get a high body count. Men don't have a real rite of passage anymore, and we need to reinstate that. That needs to come back. But that arrested development state is the reason why you also can't talk to people about the real goings on in the world. Like, you don't have to be a political expert, but if you don't, I don't pay attention to politics at this state, in this stage of the game, at this point in time, if you're not even the slightest bit aware of what's going on in politics, I don't want to be too extreme, because, some people just, but sometimes I feel like, dude, I can't even, if it's a man, I can't, like, how am I even supposed to take you seriously as a man, dude? It's like, you pay taxes? Well, yeah. Do you have a job? Oh, yeah. Do you pay property taxes? Yeah. Do you make sure your house is maintained and you're a homeowner? Yeah. Okay. So why don't you care about who's elected on your local level? Why don't you care about the goings on a local level? Why don't you care what's going on a national level? Why don't you understand it's just so negative? It's like, well, guess what, bro? A lot of things in life are negative. It's like, but anything can be used as a crutch. I also see men who are in a state of arrested development that know tons of things about politics, but they wouldn't actually get in the arena themselves. They're just fake commentators. They just know every little tiny little nugget of every news factoid that comes out, but can't do a damn thing with it to actually change or influence society, right? And I'm not putting like Mussolini on a pedestal or Mao Zedong or anything like that, but it's like the difference between being a comic book collector and being Mussolini. It's like you're collecting information on politics, but then you're not actually a real leader. You're not involved in society. You're not making any change. And so it's a similar thing. It's something that you do. You're taking. It's like a being swaddled. It's like having its baba, having its bottle. It's something that pacifies you, that allows you to remain in a state where you're not exceeding past what you perceive to be your limitations. And so enough on the topic of arrested development, but that is a huge issue that we have nowadays in our society. And I think that's the reason why our society is in such decay, because people have not been challenged. They are not checked. They are not really made to deal with reality, especially with all these Marvel movies, all these Disney movies, all these Fantasyland movies with all this high tech, super colorful, vibrant, computer graphics that just take people out of the mainstream, the real reality of living life, being in their body, breathing, interacting with other human beings, and being humble, understanding that, at any moment in time, we could just pass from this earth. We're not permanent fixtures here on this planet. But getting into the Biden impeachment, right? So this is what happened today. And I'm going to read this from the Fox News website because it's the only, website that actually, frames this as it doesn't even frame it in a positive way. Fox News is such a joke. It's not for conservatives. It's not anything. But it at least frames it in a neutral, objective way, right? It says Republican-led House representatives may yet impeach President Biden, but House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, had to intervene to halt a snap impeachment this week by Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado. Now, Lauren Boebert is bad. She's. I mean, we got this new breed of millennial politicians coming in. She's just a real badass, standing up for stuff in Washington, D.C., which I'm sure is hard. She barely squeaked by and won her district in Colorado. I mean, because Colorado is, Colorado is to white people as what Atlanta is to black people. So anyway, Lauren Boebert pushed these things forward. She had a privileged resolution. So privileged resolutions are a special commodity in the House. They are used only in special circumstances pertaining to the Constitution. That includes discipline of members or impeachment. Such resolutions head to the front of the legislative line. The House must entertain such privileged matters almost immediately. So she utilized a specific rule to jump ahead of the line and get the impeachment articles in front of the House, and they basically voted on it to go forward with it. Now, why is this important? They've already investigated Joe Biden, right? They've already determined that $30 million was inserted into his bank account from, Ukraine and all this other stuff, and actually from China. And so going forward with the impeachment, like they impeached Trump twice for things that he obviously they weren't impeachable offenses, right? They just did it because Democrats had control over the House. Nancy Pelosi was the speaker, so on and so forth. They just did it. This is an actual case of real corruption, like a person who is compromised by other nations leading our nation. And you wonder why our nation is falling apart. Well, China would benefit greatly if we just, didn't help out Taiwan, which they announced this past week that we will not help Taiwan. If China attacks Taiwan, oops, you're on your own. That happened, right? I'll try to find the clip and put it in here in post-production. Things like that, right? It's like, things like that. Letting rival nations get whatever they want. How is this just happening all of a sudden? Oh, because this guy took money from these people. Okay, got it. So if they actually move forward with the articles of impeachment, that would open and broaden up the investigation. They would have more broad sweeping powers of investigation to get documents and things. The FBI would no longer be able to, hold on to this or classify this. But remember a few weeks ago, they were talking to the FBI director, Wray, and Comer, the Republican representative was saying, hey, listen, we will basically indict you if you do not give us this paperwork, this specific paperwork they were asking for. They finally kind of came to a compromise and turned it over, and that's how they got more of this information. But imagine the feds, the FBI, stonewalling, black listing, blackballing, stopping this whole investigation because it might look bad, right? But President Trump had a phone. Let's just take a step back. The first time President Trump got impeached, why did he get impeached? He was on the phone with President Zelensky of Ukraine. President Zelensky of Ukraine. He asked Zelensky about the corruption. He asked him about what was going on, what was basically happening with, Biden. Biden wasn't even in the running. There was no presidential election at the time. To my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I don't think there was no election happening at the time. He was just asking a question. He was just like, yo, so I heard this was what's going on. I would love to send you some money, but I want to make sure it goes to the right place. That was essentially what the phone call was about. He hung up the phone. Pretty much the next day, President Trump is getting impeached for that phone call. And they tried to make it sound, oh, he tried to make Zelensky do something for him before he gave him money. Now, listen. I don't know about you, but when a president of one nation tells another, leader of another nation, if you do this for me, I'll give you, financial aid. I'll give you funds. I'll give you support. That happens all the damn time. I don't really understand how they could have even impeached him over that. But OK, sure. The second time they impeached him was over January 6th. So they can't. That's why they're not prosecuting Trump on January 6th. Now they're trying to, but it's like it's already happened. They've already tried to get him on that, and they, that didn't work. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Trump. They'll probably throw a couple more things at Trump to try to get him out of the way. But this is also, I just wanted to say this. I'm diverting a lot today, but they're also doing it to Bolsonaro and Brazil. Bolsonaro is like the Trump of Brazil. The people friggin' love him down there. And they basically removed him in another election, which we who knows what happened there. But the guy that they replaced Bolsonaro with, Lola, whatever his name is a convicted criminal, man. He's literally a convicted criminal and communist. They put him back in power. So there goes Brazil. And so the same thing is happening there with Bolsonaro. They're trying to stop Bolsonaro from holding political office for like 10 years. Like they're trying to like this is how crazy this is. They're so afraid of people actually coming out, turning out in droves and voting. It's like it's just such an upside down backwards world where you're voter intimidation. You're trying to stop people from voting, but they're literally stopping candidates from being able to get on the ballot, and they're using BS, just total BS. Like with Trump, they're trying to put him in jail for having documents that he had the right as president to have. And they're trying to use that to say, well, he shouldn't be president because of that, because he put people in danger by having classified documents. It's like he was allowed to have those documents. They weren't just sitting out on the floor of a garage like some people we know. But anyway, I'm going back to this. And I'm going to get in McCarthy's ass real quick, because what the fuck is what is that? What is going on with this guy, bro? Lauren Boebert put it up. Anna Paulina Luna, which is, another representative from Florida. Fantastic lady. She's a real fighter. We got women in there in the Republican side of the House that are like fighters, man. And they're really pushing for this. And so, Boebert says, I was tired of politicians telling us something that we wanted to hear back home, getting to where we send them and trust them to be our voice and doing something completely different. This isn't a talking point for me. This is an action item. That's what Boebert said. And that's true. It's like when she goes back home and talks to her constituency, they're like, hey, when y'all going to impeach this guy? We know he's corrupt. His son's corrupt. Everybody's corrupt. It's documented. It's proven. It's true. You don't take a plea deal. You don't even. This is happening, right? We know it's happening. We know it from the laptop, which proved to be true. The laptop's not fake. It's 100% real. We know now that they had this little chat room between 53 different, high level intelligence people where they just basically signed off on everybody. It's like, hey man, can you, just say my homework is done? Oh yeah, we'll say your homework is done. That's what they did with this laptop. So when they go, all these 19 intelligence people said it was Russian disinformation, that's because they had a little text chat room going back and forth saying, hey man, this thing's about to come out. Can you say it's fake? Can you say it's Russian disinfo? Can you say this or say that? That's what's going on with that. We know. They 100% verified Ashley Biden's diary. That's verified that it is her diary. Biden's kids are leaving a breadcrumb trail of corruption for people to find, and it's like sad. It almost like makes you feel sorry for these people because they're doing it deliberately. It's like they want it to just end. Like they just want this life of lies and corruption to just end. But at the same time, they're spoiled. They know that they're in danger. They know that if they don't cuddle up to the big corruption, their lives are in danger. I mean, it's these people aren't playing games. There's no game playing going on here. I mean, they just found a text message going back and forth, a WhatsApp text message from Joe Biden basically saying, hey, man, where's my money? Because I need to let my daddy know what's going on. Okay. So now they're trying to impeach. Kevin McCarthy swoops in and saves the day for Joe Biden. Why is he doing this? This is what I'm saying. They put Trump on trial. They push him on TV every single day. And this is the media. This is the information war that they're fighting against everybody every single day when they push this on the media and say Trump is the worst guy ever. Can you believe it? Well, you know what needs to happen? They have to do something. I don't know what McCarthy is thinking. I don't know if he's on some 5D chess type of stuff, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like he's just trying to suck up to people who are donors for both the Republican and the Democrat Party. Like, I won't get money if I impeach the Democrat leader because the people who give us the money give to both sides of the aisle. Yeah, if you're playing that kind of game, I want you out of there. I don't like you anymore. I don't want you in there. But who knows? I'm willing to give Kevin McCarthy the benefit of the doubt, but we've been giving him a lot of that lately. He came in, swooped in, and essentially stopped the proceedings from going forward. Now, like I said before, if they would actually impeach Biden, they would have a lot more ability to go and get classified documents, investigate into him the way that they investigated into Trump with a fine-tooth comb. And this would actually have to go on the news because you can't have an impeachment of a sitting president happen and it not be on the news. So what I'm saying is it's like you let them drag Trump through the mud every single day, call him a criminal, all this other stuff for things that he did that aren't even a crime. Things that aren't even a crime. In New York, they didn't charge him with there was no charges. They just said he's bad and he did something bad and he mismanaged some money in a specific way that there was no law against it when he did it, but we changed the law to make it against the law now and make it a felony now, when before it was a misdemeanor. But that's how bad he is. It's like, it's crazy, dude. It's like if I did something that wasn't really against the law or wasn't a felony and they were like, we don't really like that guy, BlackRant. We're going to change the law so that it is a felony so that we can put him away for longer. Now that's not blind justice anymore. Now, is it? It's supposed to be the rules of the game are laid out and we play by those rules. But if you're playing a game and halfway through the game, they change the rules on you, that's not fair. And so they are blatantly showing that it's a two-tiered justice system. Kodak Black, the rapper Kodak Black, yes, I'm bringing him up. His lawyer came out and said this is a two-tiered justice system because Kodak Black got charged with tax evasion charges, but Hunter Biden gets off with a plea deal. This is the kind of just in-your-face, blatant corruption and hypocrisy that we're talking about. And then these Democrats get up there and say, Joe Biden's the best man I've ever known. It's insane. So let's go back to this. An attempt to punish. I'm trying to read this thing. However, the House was much more hasty in impeaching Mr. Trump the second time after the Capitol riot. But nothing says a member can't introduce a privileged resolution to censor a fellow lawmaker or even impeach the president without going through the additional machinations. If the House votes to censor or impeach, you are censored or impeached. Mechanics aren't required, even if that's regular order or the regular order. Maybe we're redefining regular order, said Luna in an interview. Anna Paulina Luna, the Congresswoman. Maybe we're redefining what the typical process would be and that members have more of a voice. Allowing his rank and file to have a voice is key to McCarthy's political success. Yeah, he had to do it. They forced him to do it. He promised to give members more say in the legislative process. The speaker certainly agreed with censuring his Golden State nemesis Schiff for his role in the Russian probe, which, by the way, that's huge news. I didn't think they were actually going to do it. They did it. They censured Adam Schiff because the man, it turns out everything he said about PP Gate, the Russian dossier, all that stuff turned out to be completely false, completely made up. This guy went on the news on CNN, MSNBC for a year, 2 years, talking about how Trump was a Russian agent. And we had evidence about how he's a Russian agent. Totally made up. Totally made up. And so they censored him because he created a toxic and dangerous atmosphere in America. That is 100% true. If they didn't come out and say Trump was a Russian agent and he was the worst guy ever and he was, in cahoots with Putin and trying to, kill black people or something, this would not be happening. But because this guy started, he didn't even start it. He just was the mouthpiece for the biggest lie of all time that convinced a whole section of America that we could not trust the man who was actually, for better or worse, I'm sure Trump's a real asshole. I'm sure he's not the best guy in the world. I'm sure he's not the nicest person. I don't give a damn about that. The guy that was actually trying to bring wealth to this country. You can print infinite amounts of money when you have infinite amounts of resources. This is what drives me crazy about the socialists and the communists. They want free education, free this, free that, free food, all this other stuff. But then they don't want to drill for oil. No. They want to get oil from the Middle East overseas and start a war and kill brown people 10,000 miles away to get gas so that they can keep sipping on their Starbucks and their plastic cups that are made out of oil. And it's just like, what is wrong with these people, man? And their friggin' cell phones where the plastic is made out of oil. It's just insane. You could do that here and take responsibility for your own environmental impact here in America. Drill here, not have to start any more chaotic wars in any other place on the planet. But oh no, they're environmentally friendly, so you can't do that. No, we have to dig for rare earth minerals in Africa, making poor African black children slaves for no pay, 20 cents a day, digging up cobalt and lithium in these slave camps that are controlled by the Chinese so I can drive a Tesla and feel good about myself, or I can have a computer. And these people think that they're the good guys, man. These people are insane. Fucking sane. I don't give a damn if Trump is a racist or a bad guy. If he is bringing energy to this country where the price of gas is less than $2, that's how you can. That's why people go, well, Trump didn't really pay attention to, conservative fiscal policy. Yeah, because he turned the tap back on, dummy. When you don't have the tap on, you can't spend money. Everything revolves around energy. Everything. If your country has no energy, you can't produce a single fucking thing. And they know that. Trump knows that. So I don't give a damn if Trump is the biggest racist in the world, man. As long as you don't attack black people, as long as you're not putting in policy that makes it harder to be a black person, as long as you don't implement new laws. He didn't do any of that. You know who is doing that? That's another story. Anyway, getting back to this impeachment. I'm sure this will go through at some point in time. I don't know what Kevin McCarthy is stopping this for. I don't know why he's doing that, but apparently he's doing it for some apparent reason. He wants it to happen the right way or something. Blah, 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 blah. But they've censured Adam Schiff, which is a good first step. There need to be consequences for sending the country into almost a civil war. Okay, so you can lie about one president, totally and completely lie and make up something about one president. But you try to tell the obvious truth about this president. And oh my God, you're a little extreme, huh? Joe Biden's as sharp as ever. I mean, come on now. He's physically fit. He's sharp. He's one of the most honorable men I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you can leave your kids with him, leave, and feel rest assured that they're being well taken care of. I mean, he is the pinnacle of great human beings. So that's that. I don't want to go off on a tangent here. I will just end with this. Kevin McCarthy, get your shit together, bro. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what games you're playing. They better be good games. They better be games that benefit the nation, because you've been doing all this snake-like behavior. Nothing has been happening. I mean, you're making all these deals that maintain the status quo. And the status quo is only going to keep our country sliding into further and further decline over the next 10 years, where we become a secondary nation, where we're on par with all these other nations, when we could be the leading nation in the world. And I used to believe that, there wasn't a problem with that. But the older you get, the more you realize that somebody got to be the damn leader. Because when you got too many cooks in the kitchen and everybody's on the same level, that's when conflicts arise. Somebody got to be the alpha. Somebody got to be the goddamn nigga in charge. Somebody got to do it. And the USA has been doing it for a long time. Now, has the USA turned to Satan? Have we done some terrible, evil things? Our government? It's stealing our tax dollars and doing it in our name? Absolutely. But I don't think any other country would do it and not turn to Satan and not turn to evil, because the corruption, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so what needs to happen is the citizenry needs to become awake. The citizenry needs to wake up. The citizenry needs to get engaged. Get engaged, not even in politics, dude. Just get engaged with your neighbor. Just be a better person. Just look at yourself and see, like, yo, am I being petty? Am I being toxic? Am I being rude? Can I do something better today? That's the solution. Everybody changes and makes the small adjustments and the changes in their life, and everything will change on a grand scale. That's it. I'm done talking. Thank you very much. BlackRant. I'm out. Thank you for listening.